natural as possible with them. The Feisty Feline. So two of my other cats are within this age range. This is Penguin that I rescued from my own vets last year, and this is Yuki, who's not actually that impressed with Penguin being in the house, but we'll go on to that in a little bit. So 3 to 6 years old is between 28 to 40 years old in human terms. This is when they're settled down. They're quite happy with life, they've got what they want, they're no longer trying to explore the world, and you tend to find that a lot of the time they will spend sleeping. At the vets, this is not one of my cats. If anybody has a cat that can do this, then please come and see us later and tell us how you got them to do it. We'd love to be able to do it. So we don't want to see you once a year when your cat's between these ages. We want to see you twice a year. You need to be getting your cat's weight checked. Plus you need to be getting them used to coming to see us for things that aren't always going to be horrible for them. Cats' weights are really important, and any slight weight change can be really significant. We'll talk to you again about vaccinations and parasite control and diet and insurance. Again, we want to make sure you're still keeping up to date with your insurance, and obviously dental care. Now the main reason we want to talk to you about dental care is that this age, this is a huge problem, which I'll go on to in a second. So common medical problems. This could be my cat Bumble between the ages of 3 and 6, and that was me saying that he wasn't fat, he was just big. He did have a big head, honestly, he was a big cat. Obesity is a major problem within these age ranges, and you need to get that sorted out at a very young age in life. I could just keep quiet back here. So, obesity also can cause the same problems in cats as it does in humans. So it predisposes them to diabetes, heart disease, and the other reason that it can be a really bad problem is cats are very susceptible to osteoarthritis, and they're putting a lot of weight on those little joints. So we want to get that problem sorted as soon as we can. Allergies. Does anybody have a cat with allergies? Yeah, allergies are becoming more and more common in cats. We can see them present themselves in flaky skin disease, they can present in sneezing, coughing, with asthma, and they can also present in an IBD form, much in the same way as humans have IBD. Little Yuki that I showed you earlier on, he actually suffers with IBD and has to have a specific diet. Dental disease is a huge one, and it's a really, really expensive procedure if it's carried out properly. You need to make sure, if you're insured, that your insurance cover will cover dental treatment. A lot of them don't. Dental disease can't always be prevented as well. We can help to prevent calculus and gingivitis by diet, but we can't prevent little holes in cats' teeth, which are called resorptive lesions. So for this reason, cats do require dental treatment quite commonly. Accident and injury, unfortunately at this point in life, it generally tends to be cars, which is never good news. One that I haven't put up there is urinary tract problems. Does anybody have a cat with urinary tract problems? Okay, little boys and little girls can suffer with urinary tract problems. Little boys, it's very, very serious. If you've got a male cat who's struggling to get in and out the litter tray, who's not passing urine, get him to the vets straight away. Phone your vets up and let them know and take him down straight away. What can happen in the urine is they can actually form little crystals which can form stones, which in little boys they have to pass through a very narrow tube to get out into the litter tray, and that tube can become blocked with these stones. The bladder will continue to expand with urine, and it's not a happy ending for some. So if you do suspect any cystitis problems with your cats, get them to the vets. Little girls, it's not so serious a problem for their life, but it's a very painful problem to have. So again, get them to the vets as soon as possible. So behaviour in this range, this tends to be, again, this is representative of my house. You get a cat, suddenly there's another, and then there's another, even when you promised your husband that after you've got two there will be no more. This can be representative of one of the major issues, multi-cat households. Cats Cats in the wild, like I said at the beginning, it all goes back to what they're like in the wild. And in the wild, cats are solitary animals. They are not pack animals. They don't need to have friends. They don't need to work in a hierarchical society. So therefore, they are solitary animals. When you introduce cats to other cats, sometimes they can get on perfectly well, and if they live in harmony, that's fantastic. You've got everything that your cats need there. If they don't, it can be very subtle, or it can be very, very, very obvious. Obvious problems can come in forms of aggression, so obvious fights and spats. Subtle can be urination and defecation outside of litter trays. It can be something as subtle as when one cat walks into one room, the other cat will walk out. There can be a subtle bullying going on if that's the case. So can anybody tell me how many litter trays you should have in your house per cat? If you have one cat, you should have 1 plus 1. If you have 2 cats, you should have 2 plus 1. So any number of cats you have, you should have the same number of litter trays plus 1 extra. The reason for this is cats are such fastidiously clean little creatures, and much like us, they will not want to go in a toilet that's been used and hasn't been cleaned. You walk into a public toilet, you're not going to go in one that's been used and hasn't been flushed. Cats are pretty much the same. They want to go in a clean environment. For that reason, we suggest that you clean out litter trays as often as possible, so scooping it out at least twice a day. If anybody has any problems with having a litter tray in the house, come and see us over at DC50 and we can tell you the best litter to use for that problem. Does anybody have a cat and it goes outside, so therefore they don't need a litter tray? No? A lot of people, and myself was included, before I figured out and understood cats better, think that if their cats go outside that they don't need a litter tray indoors. That's not true, they do. They will still need a litter tray indoors. If a cat's going outdoors and it goes to a normal place that it always goes to, and a neighbouring cat moves into the area, and that cat's bullying your cat who normally goes in the garden, they're not going to feel comfortable going in the garden anymore. They're going to want somewhere safe and secure. They might start going in the house. They might go in your plant pots, or they might go in the carpet. This isn't what they want to do. It's stressing you out and it's stressing them out. They don't want to be doing this. The same can be said if you put your litter trays in the same place. So if you've got your 2 litter trays side by side, if there's subtle bullying going on in the house, then this can also cause a problem. So aggression, again, it can be subtle. It can be as subtle as in and out, or it can be full-on fighting. And idiopathic cystitis. We've talked about the medical problem of cystitis forming stones. It can also be what's known as idiopathic cystitis, and that's a stress-related cystitis. There are so many things that we can do to help cats in stressful situations. And if you do have a multi-cat household and you're sitting thinking, oh, that could be us, then come and see us at DC50 and we can give you some tips on what to do. Basically, some changes in your environment can make a huge difference to your cat's lives.